Hello. So today I am at a beautiful theater with my newest friend. Where did she go? Piangia. The guy tried to explain to me the name of this adorable little critter here. Hello there, you. Yes, you. Name is something to do with feet. It was like pointing at my shoes. Piangia. But anyway, I am right outside in the courtyard of the theater of Jose de Alencar here, and I wanted to do a little shopping around the city while Brandon wanted to get a guide of the theater. You can just roam around for free, or you can pay to be guided around in Portuguese to learn more about it. And I was good to I got in there and one of the doors happened to be unlocked, so I was able to actually go inside, and that was cool. But I wanted to shop around because I saw they had some video game stores. I like old video games. I'm curious what relics might be here that you wouldn't find usually in the States. So I popped into a few, and that was interesting to see, especially some of the clone systems, like 400 games in one, modded, unofficial things that they had. And so I got to roam around a little bit, but Brandon and Sylvie are in there right now, and they'll be out in just a minute. Beautiful theater. But my experience these last few days has been that in Brazil here, I feel like the Little Mermaid. And it's because, like, in the movie The Little Mermaid, she gets cursed and can't speak and just has to use the importance of body language and has to point at things and just smile and be adorable. And I've had to rely on that because I don't know a word. I mean, now I know like 4 words, hello, good morning, and thank you, but I don't really know how to communicate in Portuguese. Didn't do any studying leading up to it, no Duolingoing. I don't really know any Portuguese. So Brandon speaks Portuguese, English, and Esperanto. He has done a lot of translating for me, helping us get around, making sure that the checks are accurate and that we're not paying more than we should. Hey, I thought this was a 2-for-1 special on these drinks. So that's good. And that's been great, but without him, I have no ability to communicate here. And I'm a very outgoing, expressive, communicative person. I like to be able to be clever and like joke around. I can't. I just am suddenly dumb in the sense of unable to speak and just nodding and pointing at menus to order stuff. Which, yeah, it's a little frustrating, more humbling, and just like, man, how many people have I met that I assume are quiet and shy because they happen to just not speak English very well. And boy, would they love to be more expressive and communicative and outgoing, but they can't. So that's a good thing to remember. I had a similar feeling when I first went to NOSC years ago in North Carolina. That was my first time speaking Esperanto out loud. And it was so fast and so much of it. And I was like, granted, I had studied that, so at least I just had to calibrate and kind of get used to the speed of people talking. Oh, okay, I do know what you're saying. Here, you can say it fast, you can say it slow. I don't understand any Portuguese. And last year when I went to Montreal, most of the people there spoke some English. Some people definitely preferred speaking French, but I got around just fine speaking English. Here in Fortaleza, this is not, and especially when you're in kind of the away from the main areas, the side streets, they don't speak any English. Google Translate has saved the day a few times. My phone, I have been trying. I spent 3 hours in a mall yesterday with some Brazilian Esperantists trying to buy a SIM card to work with my phone, but my phone is locked to my carrier. I even brought an old phone with me my brother gave me. It's locked to a different carrier, and so I can't get the new SIM card. I bought a SIM card, but I can't use it. So I only can use the internet and communicate and send emails when I'm at a Wi-Fi signal. So that's been a little tough. Like if I get lost, I'm lost. Yeah, Google Translate on other people's phones, like the workers at a store will pull out their phone and type in, and I'll have to explain, I'm trying to buy this, can you help me? So Google Translate has been useful. But, I think a lot of people, when they hear about Esperanto, the first thing they say is, why would we need that? We just use Google Translate if you really need to do something. Sure, yep, that helped me just now. I was able to talk to some folks and like, hey, can I buy a fan? I went yesterday to that mall, and afterwards I wanted to buy a fan because our apartment if the breeze is not coming in strong, oh, is it hot. So I'm like, I'll buy a fan and I'll donate it to some local Esperantists when I'm done with it. I just need a fan for the next few days. But I couldn't buy a fan without a CPF number, like a identification number. I can buy coffee at a cafe, I can buy food at a restaurant, but I could not buy a fan without, I showed them my passport, I showed them my driver's license, nothing mattered. I needed that. But just now, Google Translate, I was able to talk to them, can I buy this if I'm not, Brazilian? They said, well, you do need a number, you can use my identification number and your credit card, we'll make it work, sir, you can buy this fan. So I'll buy that in a minute when they're out and we're on our way back to the car. So yes, functionally, Google Translate, thank you. But you don't build a friendship with that. You can't really relax and enjoy getting to know people using Google Translate. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people miss. When they hear about Esperanto, they think that it's supposed to be what Google Translate is, a way to get by, to ask where the bathroom is, a way to order coffee. And sure, it could be if you happen to meet an Esperantist who's a waiter, but what it really is for is bonding with people. So yesterday, it was me and Brandon and Sylvie. Sylvie's from France. She speaks French and Esperanto. She doesn't speak English, or at least not very well. We don't speak French. Brandon speaks Portuguese, Esperanto, and English, so he translated what the waiters were saying and the tour guides were saying for us, so we both were able to understand in Esperanto. So he didn't have to learn French, and Sylvia didn't have to learn English. And we spent the last 3 days now doing excursions together. We went to museums, and we went to a monastery, went to a theater, went shopping, went to the beach, went to some restaurants. And that's what you don't want to be putzing around a Google Translate doing that. So that's just an interesting thing that, Esperanto is not failing at what you think it's supposed to be for. It's not supposed to replace Google Translate. It's succeeding at helping me bond with people, and a fellow Esperantist who speaks Portuguese, they can help me thoroughly explain what the worker at the cell phone store is saying about SIM cards. Instead of having to type that in Google Translate, I just go with a Brazilian Esperantist and they're able to explain it all to me. So it's very helpful for that, actually getting into the nitty-gritty of complicated things with a friend who speaks Esperanto. So yeah, so the main things I've taken away from this is wow, is it humbling to go to a place where no one speaks English? People think that sometimes. I've been told that, oh, everyone's going to speak enough English to get by. No, I've had a lot of people here in Brazil just no, and I don't care that I don't speak English. It's kind of the vibe you get. It's like, yeah, sorry, dude. I don't know what you want from me. And I'm like, I don't know any Portuguese, dude. You can say it as slow as you want. So, yeah, that's just interesting that the world is not quite as ready for you English speakers as you might think, so it's good to learn some other languages, but also find an Esperantist if you're going to travel abroad, because they can explain things very easily to you and help you out. So it's a beautiful place. I'm amazed at the architecture everywhere, even some of the poorer areas and some of the far outside the city. It's like they had a meeting and decided we're only going to build buildings if they're beautiful. Everything is beautiful plaster and painted well, really nice stuff. So I'm really impressed. Everywhere I look, I'm like, oh, we should film something here, do a photo shoot here and there too, and at that next place. So it's been a beautiful place to explore, and we got here several days before the Congress, so I haven't even really gotten started with the Esperantoing yet, but that'll be fun to see. We visited an Esperanto a school where they teach Esperanto, and that's really cool. We got to learn about what they're doing, because Esperanto USA wants to help financially support that school in their efforts, maybe send them materials as well. So that was fun for me and Brandon to get to do as sort of representatives of America today. Early this morning we got to go there. So yeah, I'm excited. More Esperantists are trickling into town every day for this, and we're sending Q over at Esperanto USA. We're sending Q some photos and videos for Esperanto USA's social media channels. So follow those if you haven't already. I'll post some things here. Now that the film festival's wrapped up, the American Good Film Festival, I can focus my attentions elsewhere, and I'm going to try putting some YouTube shorts up, some vertical videos, which I don't have as much experience doing that, so I've been recording a lot of vertical 1 minute or less videos. So we'll experiment and see if those are popular or more accessible for people. But yeah, that's what I've been up to, and this is me updating you in English, because otherwise most of the videos I'll be making this week are going to be in Esperanto. Having a lovely time. I appreciate Esperanto USA is helping with some of the costs of like renting a car here and some of the airfare costs, which is great, you know, to get me here. And Jonathan's arriving today, so Jonathan and Brandon and I are going to be here. I think the fourth American is going to be Duncan Charters, who's really more here in his capacity as president of UEA than as an American. So there'll be 4 US folks here for TAKE, which is the Tutamerika Kongreso de Esperanto. So the all-American one. At least we got 4 Americans here. I'd love to see more Americans at the next one, because yeah, it's a fascinating place to be, and the history is really rich. I went to visit the official Esperanto House with Brandon, and they have a little library there with archives and fascinating photos of interesting events that have happened here in Brazil over the years, and yearbooks to look through. So that's been really cool. There's a lot of rich Esperantujo history here to enjoy. All right, that's all for now. I'm gonna go find Brandon, and I think they've just finished their guided tour here of this theater. Gislo Revido.